Good morning and welcome to G3, Georgia Girl Griddling. Go Big Orange. I'm a huge Tennessee fan, and last night, I never thought I'd say this, but beating Kentucky was very exciting for us last night in our program, so I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited today about the cook I'm going to do. It's something that I've kind of been playing with. How did I want to do it? And I guess I'm going to call it an Italian chicken cheesesteak. And it's going to have, I'm going to do a bruschetta, and that's going to go on the top of it. And these are some of the ingredients and some of the grocery items you'll need for this cook. Some fresh basil, some Roma tomatoes, some balsamic vinegar, some of the Blackstone Italian seasoning, and this is from Trader Joe's. This is a Italian style seasoning. Your salt, your virgin olive oil, and that will be, most of that's for the bruschetta except for this. You're also going to need some chicken. I got slices of mozzarella cheese, and I got, let's see where it is, I got some sub rolls. I got the littler, smaller, fresh baked sub rolls because I didn't want a ton of bread. As you guys know, I am trying to watch my figure and lose weight, so I got those smaller ones. So if you think this is something you'd like to do and see how it's done, stay tuned, and we'll start doing the prep for the bruschetta, and then we'll do the grill in a little while. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me. We're going to do some prep now with the tomatoes. What we want to do is slice them in half. We're going to take the seeds out of them. Excuse me just a moment. I'm going to get the trash can. We're going to take the seeds out of those tomatoes, and then we're going to dice them up so that we can start there. One thing you'll need to do, and so a good sharp knife, you'll need to get you a spoon, and you'll need to get you a bowl to put your tomato in. The recipe calls for 4 to 5 medium size, so I'm going to see how that does. I may end up doing more than that. Let's go ahead and cut our ends off because we don't want to put those in there. And then we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to try to get the center part, if you can see that. Kind of hard. To me, that means the meat of the tomato. So then we'll just slice it here, here. I want it thin pieces because this is just going to be almost like having a tomato on there, but it's going to be tomatoes been marinated and seasoned. And you just cut it into some strips, and then we'll cut those strips long ways, and we'll put them in the bowl. I didn't get all the seeds out. I just feel like that's some of the flavor, so I don't want to get them all out. And then I'll just take those and dump them in my bowl, and those, and dump them in my bowl. I think I could probably do this better. Just sliding down in the side of there. And so, I know you can't see me there, but what I'm doing is just going down into the side, trying to get some of those seeds and throwing them out. And so, I'm just going to cut one tomato with you guys, and then I'm going to spare you the pain of having to sit there and watch me cut tomatoes. And then, once I finish with the tomatoes, I'll come back and we will start to do the next step in the prep, okay? Because you guys will be able to follow. Cutting up a tomato. I'm quite sure you've cut up your fair share of tomatoes. And we'll do that there. Woo! And we'll cut that one more time. All right. So we've begun the bruschetta with the first step being de-seed some the tomato and then slicing them up in bite-sized pieces. So as soon as I finish these other tomatoes, I'll come right back and we'll start on the second step, okay? Thank you, guys. came back to show you guys something. Instead of cutting the tomato in half like this, I cut it long ways, and it made these little tunnels. See the little tunnels? And they're much easier to get the seeds right out of there. You could just take your spoon right in there and get them right out. They come out so much easier. I'll show you. I just take a spoon and I'm going right in those little canals and getting the tomatoes out, or the seeds out. So, like I said, we grow and learn together. I haven't ever had to get a seed out of a tomato, so I was kind of learning for myself for the first time. So that made it easier. Cut it long ways, and then you just come down in there and you see you get all the seeds out perfectly clean. All right, I'll finish cutting these and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I've got all the tomatoes diced up really small. So that's what that's going to look like. This was 4 tomatoes, and like I said, it calls for 4 to 5, but they would say 4 to 5 medium, and these were large Roma tomatoes. And make sure they're the Roma tomatoes too. And now it calls for a 1/4 cup of basil finely chopped. But what I'm going to do, because I'm not a huge fan of basil on its own, so I'm going to do about 1/4 of a cup. That close enough for it to focus on that. You can see I'm doing 1/4 of a cup of the basil finely chopped. So let's get us out a couple of pieces, and we want to cut the stem off right there, and then we want to just bunch it up, and we're gonna chop it finely, and you're gonna cut and recut. I sent that down because it's got a stem in it, and so now I'm gonna start trying to get it a little more finely chopped, and it's just back and forth. And then clear your blade, wipe some off your blade, and again, make sure you have a good sharp knife to do all this, and then just back and forth. And I'm kind of maybe chopping it, and it does say finely chopped, so I just want to make sure mine's chopped very fine, because like I said, I don't like a lot of flavor of basil. But we're going to put some other stuff, and hopefully I won't, with a 4th cup, won't be bothered, or an 1/8 cup, I'm sorry. So now we will put this in the measuring cup to see if we've got 1/4 of a cup. And if we don't, I may still stop with this. Oh, we've got more than 1/4 of a cup. There's the 1/4 of the cup. Put that in there. And I'm going to clean off my board real quick. And then I'll wipe my knife off. Let me get something to wipe my knife with. And again, I think any of you who've watched me before, you know I'm a clean as I go kind of person. I don't like to wait till after I'm finished and start cleaning up a bunch of mess. I'm going to pop these basil leaves back into the refrigerator to keep them cool, because you'll find them in the refrigerated section at the grocery store. And so I'm assuming that they really need to stay in the refrigerator as much as possible. All right, so the basil. And now we have to have garlic. It calls for 3 cloves of garlic, or you can do, I do 1/4 of a teaspoon. Again, loud garlic makes my stomach hurt, so I don't do garlic really loud, a lot of it. I do a little. We'll have some more seasonings that we're going to put in here, so I think we'll be fine on flavor. But I am going to put 1/4 of a tablespoon in there. Just level it off. And those of you who watched my tzatziki video on the lamb pita pockets will know that, you know, that garlic went a long way for me. And the next thing, the garlic, tomatoes. Now, the balsamic vinegar. I have Great Values balsamic vinegar. This is what I got. And the balsamic vinegar it calls for, if I can get it off, it calls for 2 teaspoons. So we've got the teaspoon measuring cup here, and we'll measure that out right here. Whoops. 1 and 2. So there's the balsamic vinegar in there. And then let's see what we have to do next. All right, that's the balsamic. I apologize, I was reading. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put 2 teaspoons of the Blackstone's Loaded Italian. Wow, this is good. See, so there's going to be a lot of flavors in this that we'll be able to go in it as well. And again, this is a recipe that I'm kind of making up as I go along, or I've already thought about it actually. So if you would like to add something different here, if you like more garlic, add more garlic. But for me, I'm going to put just a tad of this in there because this is going to be on the chicken. All right, and you can even slop your bread around in that when we pour it off of there. Okay, so we've got the balsamic vinegar, we've got the loaded shredders, we've got the loaded Italian, we've got the tomatoes, the basil, the garlic. Now we need about a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I know that tomatoes love salt, and I love salt, which is not good for us, but I'm going to put a 1/2. So there's that. And the salt's in. The next thing is your black pepper. So usually what I do with the black pepper, since I don't have the grinder, is I just give it a couple of shakes in about how much I think. And it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. So it's gonna be the same amount as that. Let's see, I'll go ahead and take my top off, see if there's enough in here that I could steal about a 1/4 teaspoon from it. I did. Very good, there it is. So there's the pepper. And let's see what else it calls for. It calls for 2 tablespoons, which is this one here, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So we'll open this up and we'll give it, and this again, like I said, you'll be able to pour this off after you get through marinating everything. You'll pour it off. So I'm gonna let that go into the sink. And then let's see, now we need to mix thoroughly. Stir with a spoon and leave to marinate for 60 minutes. After marinating, we'll taste it to make sure that the flavors are right. We can add anything that we didn't put enough of. More garlic, balsamic, salt and pepper, whatever we need. Then we're gonna drain the excess marinade off of it, and we'll be able to put that on a salad, on a, and don't really stir hard or roughly, because if you do, that's just going to tear your tomatoes up. So just make sure you get it stirred thoroughly, and then you put it lid on it and get it in the refrigerator for a minimum of an hour to marinate. Water's going to come out of these tomatoes, and it's going to mix with that balsamic and the other seasonings, and so you want to be sure to pour that off at the end before you use this on your sandwich. And I'm going to come back in and check about every 15 minutes over the next hour, just to make sure that the seasonings are stirred in good and mixed up well, because you don't want to, you know, miss some of the stuff on the bottom. I see seasoning on the sides, so I'll come back in and stir that a few times. But for now, we're going to put a lid on it, and and we're gonna put it in the refrigerator. And when I get this ready, I'll come back, I'll show you what it looks like. Well, I'll show you what it looks like beforehand before we put it in there. Like that, I've got it all mixed up. And put a lid on it, and then we'll start working on the chicken. All right, thank you guys. Hey guys, I came right back because I decided, since I'm doing an early, kind of an early dinner or a late lunch, that I want to go ahead and prep the chicken, because I'm going to slice it in half and then cut it up into small bite-sized pieces. Put it in the marinade of the loaded Italian, and put some of the Italian seasoning from Trader Joe's and a little salt on it, and let that marinade with the, what was I trying to say, the bruschetta. So we'll take, and I'll wash these off real quick and pat them dry. All right, and I don't like the whole chicken with my hands, so that's why I wear gloves. You know, you guys might be okay with that. I don't like that. Okay, so let's see what we got. We can cut that tip off. I'm gonna try right there to cut down the center. The smaller the pieces, the easier it is to cook quicker and keep it moist. See there? Now it turned out with too thick. That's still thick, plenty thick. So I'll cut that long ways like this. And then I will cut the bite sizes out of it from long ways. Now cut this there. Let me move that over a little bit. Cut this here, cut this here, cut this. So, if you guys don't have but a chicken breast and it's big like mine, if you will cut it in half like that, you'll serve a lot more people. And it'll be easier to cook, and it won't dry out, and you'll love it, I promise. And I usually will buy cutlets when I know I'm doing something like this. But every time I go to buy them, it seems like they're not there anymore. I don't know if it's all this COVID shortage or what, but it's hard to find the cutlets. I usually have to get them at Publix, but the last time Publix didn't have any. And you want to keep some of the fat on, because you want it to get the flavor from the fat. Make sure they're in the bite-sized pieces. All right, so I'm going to finish this prep on this next chicken breast, and then I'm going to call you guys back to finish with the seasoning marinade. So give me just a minute. Okay, guys, we got the chicken all cut up, and I just made a mess. There's all the chicken cut up into the bite-sized pieces so you could see it. And then I measured up 1 cup of the Blackstone Italian. I'm going to put it in here and make sure that's enough. If it's not, I'm trying to make a big mess with it, if you could tell. That's good. That's good. That's about enough. I'm going to get a paper towel because, well, I don't like seeing that laying there. All right, so we'll stir all that up good together in a little bit. I'm going to take and shake up the Italian seasoning. I'll show it to you guys again. I'll try to put a link in there. Matter of fact, I'm going to Trader Joe's in just a little while to get some more stuff, especially the lamb. That was really good. So I've got 1 tablespoon. I'm going to sprinkle that all over. And we may add some of this back to it when it's dry. So 1 tablespoon is what I put in there of the Trader Joe's. If you have some other type of Italian seasoning, you like some other type of Italian seasoning, by all means add that. And then what I'm going to do is, let me get my salt box, and I'm going to put a little salt in it and then mix it up. And I'm going to put it in there to marinate just like we did. Let's go with 1 teaspoon. And then, you know, we can season it up a little bit more after we get it out. Okay, so 1 teaspoon. There's a lot of chicken in there, a whole bunch. So let me get another spoon. We're going to stir that up, mix it up real good. And then we will put it in the refrigerator to marinate. I just want to make sure everything's all mixed up. Because like I said, there's little babies down there on the bottom. And when this gets through, we'll head to the griddle. All right, guys, that looks all mixed up. I'll let you see it before I cover it. See, it's not too much, but it's enough down in the bottom that it'll puddle up, but it covers all the chicken good. So close that up. We're gonna put that in the refrigerator for the 1 hour or maybe a little bit longer because I'm going to Trader Joe's. So when we get done and I come back and get ready to go to the grill, you're gonna be with us. See you soon. Hey guys, we're back. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry I flashed my hand in front. I wanted to make sure that I was still facing this way. I guess I could have told by looking at the griddle. What I've got is the chicken that has been marinating, and I'm going to dump that right onto the griddle and let it start cooking and cooking in those sauces. The griddle is about 320 degrees right now, but I'm going to watch that monitor. I've kind of got it on, let's see, to tell you, it is on kind of a medium heat. Everything's not going yet. I just turned the grill on about 5 minutes ago. So I'm gonna let this cook. I've got my sub rolls here. I put a little bit of butter on the inside so that when we get ready to toast them, I've got my, I'm gonna put 2 pieces of mozzarella cheese on both sandwiches because there are only 2 of us tonight. We thought we were gonna have a third one. And so right now what I've got these 2 burners right here on, and the one on the far side over here is on. I've got the other middle one off, and the reason being is because I want to toast the buns in that area where it'll be hot, but not so hot that they'll burn right away. So I'm going to give this just a few minutes to warm up as this is cooking. And I'll be right back. Give us about 3 minutes on the side and we'll be back. Okay guys, I'm getting ready to toss it around a little bit. I'm going to tell you what, this smells like an Italian restaurant. I would not kid you. I want to keep it kind of spread out so that everything gets some surface cooking. All right, so 2 or 3 minutes there. It's a little bit lower. I may cut it up just a little bit. I just don't want it to cook too fast. So I may cut it up a little bit. I'm going to cut it up maybe to low, a low high, and cut this one maybe to a medium. Man, that smells, whew, smells like an Italian restaurant. I mean to tell you. So we're making an Italian cheesesteak with a bruschetta to put on the top of it. We'll go back to that in a little bit to show you the bruschetta and how it turned out. I poured some of the juice off of it. It can be used on a salad. It could be used to sop your bread in if you want to, whatever you want to use that for. So it is delicious, and I can't wait to try the chicken. I'm sure it's going to be equally as good. So let me get a couple more minutes going. Once we do, I'll bring you back when we get a little bit closer to time to put the buns on. Be a few minutes. All right, everybody, we're going to put the buns on to toast. I'm going to kind of put those in between the really hot and the just warm area right here. So let's see if I can get everything in the shot there. Yeah, great. So we'll toast these for just a little bit, and we'll start in a minute to separate these off to put the cheese on, let the cheese start melting, because they're pretty close to being done. Hope that some of my recipes you've liked, and that you'll share and subscribe to my channel. If you have some suggestions to things you'd like me to try, comment below and let me know. If not, let me know what you don't like, what you don't want to see in a cook, or what you would like to see me do, or what you've liked and you'd like to see more of it. Because I like trying new things. I do, and I like you guys, helping you guys, teach you to learn what good cooks, things that are good to cook. So I'm going to let this finish. I'm going to lay the cheese on to melt, and then we're going to put the buns on, and we'll go in and put the bruschetta on. So for just a few minutes, but guys, just let me know what you think. What do you think about this cook tonight? And I'm going to tell you at the end what I think. It's my new recipe, a new concoction I made up. So at the end, I'll let you guys know what I think about it. So stay tuned. Here we are back with the prep done. I've put the bruschetta on the top, toasted the buns and cheese and chicken, and we're ready to eat it. Once I get it finished and can give you my honest opinion, I'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. Wow, that sandwich was delicious. The chicken was just perfect. The bruschetta was just, everything was so flavorful with all the Italian seasonings and the loaded Italian seasoning of Blackstones, and then the Trader Joe's seasoning. It was just wonderful. Now, I do want to tell you something about the Trader Joe's seasoning. It does have chili pepper, a little bit of chili pepper, and red pepper flakes. So if you don't like spicy, you might want to use another Italian blend, because it was, I would say, mild to medium heat, because I'm not one who can eat really hot things. So, and it was borderline and hitting medium, so I'd say mild to medium. So that's one thing. Another thing that I think I would do differently would be to probably, when I filleted the chicken breast, to put them in the seasoning like that, and then to cook the chicken breast as a cutlet, and then cut them up and lay them out for the sandwich. That way I can better gauge when it's done and ensure that my chicken is done through and through, instead of the pieces. And erring on the side of caution, I probably cooked them a little bit longer than I should have, so they turned out a tad dry. My spouse said they weren't. They were perfect, but maybe a little biased, I don't know. But really tried to convince me that they weren't, but I just felt like maybe just a tad. And I'm hard on myself, so and I try to give you guys a very honest and accurate opinion of what things are like. The bruschetta couldn't have been any better. Always make sure you get fresh tomatoes. I would actually buy the tomatoes maybe the day I make it, or the night before, just as fresh as you can have them. The fresher the tomato, the better the bruschetta is. And the bread was perfect. Not too much, not too heavy, not too dense. I put a little, like I said, butter on there and toasted them, and the butter crunch on those were just fantastic. The cheese I used was mozzarella, as I told you, and it was wonderful. Perfect, perfect, perfect pairing. So I hope you guys like this recipe. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Please say, hey, it was great. Something, tell me if you like it. Tell me, hey, that's not what I'm looking for, and I'd like to see some different recipes. I'd like to see this or that. Give me some ideas. And at least give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down to let me know if you like it. And if you do, please like and subscribe to my channel so you'll get the future recipes. And also share it with your friends or people that you think might like to get some of the new recipes that I'm trying to share. And I really do appreciate you guys, and I thank you for watching. And I'll see you again on the next recipe. Have a good night, y'all.